Margaret Johnson recalled her graduation day as a dream of a day. I believe that individuals have the desire to graduate, but there are certain barriers created by society and personal issues that can prevent that from happening. Some of these barriers include lack of federal funding for public schools, unstable family environment, teenage pregnancy, drug and alcohol abuse, and also poverty. For some, that dream becomes reality, and for others, that's all it is, a dream. Graduation day is a day that you're acknowledged for your academic success and achievements. Sacrifices along this journey to be a member of your graduating class include studying for class, waking up late for school but still making it on time, and other things as far as not going to parties and just a lot of sacrifices. Throughout this journey, you've made zero excuses, you've been dedicated, and you've been through all your seen and unseen trials and tribulations. Just as Margaret Johnson, you have prepared yourself for this day years ago. In 1940, Margaret Johnson, more popularly known as Maya Angelou, was a member of the graduating class of 1940 Lafayette County Training School in Stamps, Arkansas. During that time, there were ghosts of racism and schools were segregated across the United States of America. 69 years later, schools are integrated, racism still exists beyond the shadows, and graduation day still has a shared ghost. During her narrative entitled Graduation, she explains the importance of graduating in her community. Angela even claimed that she was headed for the freedom of open fields. W.B. Du Bois, an African-American educator, believed that higher education was more valuable than only learning a trade. He spoke of ways higher education was more valuable than learning a trade and how important it was to go on to college. He also believed that higher education would later play a part in obtaining equal rights in America. In his book, The Souls of Black Folk, Du Bois wrote, "He, African American, simply wishes to make it possible for a man to be both a Negro and for an American without being cursed, spit upon by his fellows, without having the doors of opportunity closed roughly in his face." To him, higher education would be approved for African Americans, and that that white Americans will no longer judge them based on the color of their skin, and only for the knowledge that they possess. Angela described her school as having neither lawns, nor hedges, nor tennis court, nor climbing ivy. This led me to believe that her school was more of a poorer school, and they didn't have the equipment that they needed to succeed. And she also stated that regardless of the outside appearance inside the school, there was a class full of graduating students, an auditorium full of proud family members. The outside appearance can be deceiving, but it's inside that really matters. During the graduation, they had a speaker, Mr. Edward Donlevy. He was a white politician. He stated that he was proud of the work that was going on as if it was going on in other schools. He gave an update on Central High School, which was an all-white school. He said that they would have a new chemistry lab, microscopes, and a new art teacher. New equipment for Lafayette County will only include home ec equipment and new equipment for wood workshops. He praised the previous students that graduated from Lafayette County Training School and only cited of the ones that were athletes. He fails to mention the graduates that went on to be lawyers, doctors, and teachers. Angela expressed her feelings toward Mr. Donlevy's speech as dead words that fell like bricks around the auditorium because he only mentioned the athletes and laborers. Today, I really believe that our society views education as essential, not a priority. According to an article written in the Washington Post, former President Bush rejected a $606 billion bill to fund education, health, and labor programs, complaining that it was too expensive and larded with pork. Former President Bush goes on to sign a $459 billion annual Defense Department spending bill that increased the Pentagon's budget 9.5% to fund operators and government chooses to endorse war than to provide our children with all races with better education. Lack of funds affects the majority of inner-city Black African American children from families that are unable to afford tuition to go to private and/or charter schools. Education was imperative in my household while I was growing up. My mom was very supportive. She went to parent-teacher conference meetings. She helped us with our homework. So not only does it lack in our government funding, but also parents are not paying attention to their children and their schoolwork. Times have changed. In 1940, a lot of African Americans did not have to graduate or didn't have the opportunity to attend school. Decent living was made because they had stores, they owned their own stores, they were able to grow and sell crops and make a living. Young children that drop out of school today, unfortunately, that's only a slim start to their success in the United States. Those that drop out of high school are unlikely to have the minimal skills and credentials necessary to function in today's increasingly complex society. Graduation day in 1940 came and went for Maya Angelou. As you can see, she became very famous. She's a very famous poet. She has written several poems such as Just Give Me a Cool Drink of Water for a Dime, Oh, Pray My Wings Are Going to Fit Me Well, and Still I Rise. She also has done an interview with Lifetime, Intimate Portrait with Oprah Winfrey. She probably at that time didn't know that she would have to face difficulties due to the color of her skin, but now she is known around the world for her poems and eloquent stories. Graduation day may not have went how she thought it would, but is a memory that she will never forget. For the African American children of today, graduation is a dream while life is a challenge. Barriers have existed and will continue to exist. It's up to the individual to make zero excuses for their past and to keep working towards their dreams. Perhaps W.B. Du Bois summarized how the members of the graduating classes around the world feel when he voiced, "It is a hard thing to live hunted by the ghost of an untrue dream, to see the wide version of empire fade into real ashes and dirt, and yet know that with all the bad that fell one day, something vanquished that deserved to live." Thank you.